So that wraps up childhood development. So let's move on now to adolescent development. So adolescence is this period of development between puberty and adulthood. And we're defining puberty as I'll probably know, this period of physical change that leads to the sexual maturity, typically in young teenage years. It's a little bit earlier in females than it is in males, but it's typically in these kind of preteen stages, your middle school kind of awkward phase. But if you look at this graph, puberty has actually started a lot earlier in modern years. What this graph is showing is the calendar year as you progress through time and the age that an individual is mature, goes through puberty. And you can see that it started around age maybe 17 in the 1800s, and now it's closer to age 13 or 14. So we have this really long, extended period of adolescence now because puberty is starting earlier. So adolescence is also characterized by a lot of sexual development. So this time period is classically when a lot of your secondary sex characteristics start to kind of come online and mature. Things like maturity of your genitalia, reproductive systems, development of like facial hair and kind of differential like fat distributions and quantities. Your bodies are changing a lot in puberty. You all know this, your awkward teenage years. But in parallel to that, you also kind of have the mental kind of sexual development as well. So in addition to your body physically changing, you also kind of identify in different ways. You might have a development of your gender identity, how much you feel like being like you're male or female or in the middle, kind of what your role is, how much you should behave according to your different sex, but then also your orientation, who you're attracted to. And there's a wonderful diagram that I've come across that is a genderbread person that kind of really delineates and depicts these different ideas. So your gender identity found in your brain is kind of on the spectrum where you land between how much you really identify as a woman or a man, or maybe you're gender queer in the middle. Then your entire kind of yellow bod, your expression is how much you present yourself to the world as either feminine, masculine, or in the middle, androgynous. Your biological sex can also be multiple things. So you can either have fully female XY chromosome, or you can have fully female XX chromosomes, male XY chromosomes. Intersex individuals also exist. So this is some sort of developmental kind of abnormality. Maybe that's XXY or XO, or kind of any sort of combination where your sex chromosomes don't fully split or separate correctly, can create an intersex kind of individual. And then also your orientation. So you can go all the way from heterosexual, so liking the opposite sex, liking the same sex, or liking both. And there's an entire spectrum of this as well. So I like this diagram to kind of show that these different components are describing different things, and they exist on the spectrum. So they're not necessarily binary distinctions.